Con Edison monitors and inspects its gas system to ensure public safety, but they want you to take an active role in helping them keep their 4,300 miles of underground pipelines safe. Now, here to tell us more on how the community can help is the Media Relations Manager at Con Edison Company of New York, Mr. Sidney Alvarez. We welcome you to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Good to have you. And as I said at the onset, we really saw the tragedy happen in the East Village, and a lot of people began to be aware. How could this happen? What can we do to prevent this from happening here? And I know Con Ed has really been out there trying to speak and let people know that there are some things that you can do to really just be preventative and to be out there.
Absolutely. And the most important thing here is education. Education for the public. We operate one of the most complicated energy systems in all of North America. We're talking about electricity, gas, and steam. And just, to put it out on the table, natural gas is one of the most environmentally cleanest and safest forms of energy that we're currently using. How we're using it is absolutely growing. But the important thing here is that the public understand and the signs for a potential gas leak. That's what's really important here.
When you talk about gas leaks, first of all, how do we know when there's a possibility that I got this happening in my own home? Because to the people in the East Village and, and across the country, we've seen several that have just actually happened. Warning signs were avoided.
Absolutely. And the big thing here is odor. The smell. Natural gas by itself doesn't have a natural odor. We actually, as a company, put a chemical called mercaptan. Mercaptan is what creates the odor or the smell. And a lot of people, it's a very distinct odor. It smells like rotten eggs. So if you think that you smell it, you probably are smelling natural gas, because how often are you going to smell rotten eggs? And it's a very powerful odor. So as soon as you get this odor, there are some things that you need to do. The first thing that you need to do is not use any electrical appliances. Don't turn on or off lights when you're in your home. Don't use anything with batteries. Don't even use your cell phone. All these could cause a charge or a spark, and that's what can cause the explosion. So what you need to do is immediately evacuate the area. When you're in a safe distance, that's when you dial 911, or you can contact Con Edison.
And someone will definitely come on out and check. What are the mistakes that people make during things like this?
Not calling, thinking that somebody else is going to call. And we've seen that happen time and time again, and they lead to some very, horrific events. So if you think that you smell it, you got to act immediately and just call. Some other signs that you may see in your home is, say you have plants in your home and you see that they die from one day to the next. That could be a sign that you have a gas leak. Or say you hear some whistling sounds coming from the pipes. That's another sound that you may have in some sort of situation in your home. So it's really important that you recognize it and you call 911. I sound like a broken record sometimes. Right. I tell everybody, dial 911, don't ignore it.
It's the most easiest number to dial, but sometimes it's the hardest one for people to do. When you look at the house, you see there's fire detectors, you see there's carbon monoxide detectors. Those are things that are in the house to prevent. Is there anything that you could have in the house that could give you warning sign, hey, possible gas leak? There
are some products that are coming out on the market, but they're still, in testing phases, and nothing that Con Edison actually advocates. So really the best sign is, what God gave you, your natural senses. So, your sight and your smell, going back, hey, if you smell the gas, make sure you call right away.
4,300 miles of underground pipeline. That's a lot of pipeline.
Absolutely. And we inspect our system. We used to do it once a year. Now we do it a minimum of once a month. We also developed a gas map. So if you go to coned.com, you can actually type in your zip code and see if there's a reported gas leak in your area. You can also see what the status is for making the repairs, and some very valuable information. So, I definitely recommend, people to check that out.
When you talk about inside the home, having an inspection, we talk about having inspections in your home, your apartment regularly. Is there a way that they can have an inspection for gas?
Well, usually the business owner or building owner is responsible for any type of work that is happening within their area. They can work with the Department of Buildings. They need to hire either a certified plumber that can go out there and physically do the work. They can actually do that on their own accord. They could also call us and say, hey, you know what, something's just funky, it's just not right, can you just come out here and check it out? We'd be more than happy to check it out, do the testing, and then help instruct you on what steps you need to take further.
So we want to tell people there are some warning signs that you have when it's possibly a gas leak in your house. We want you to be very vigilant, as he says. Go ahead and call 911. That is the most important thing that you could actually do. But also don't discard what you're actually smelling in your own home.
Right, and what's important as well is the information that we're asking for. Sometimes a lot of people don't want to call because perhaps they may have some immigration status situation. All we ask for is for an address or an intersection. We're not even going to ask for your name. We're not going to ask for any type of personal information. Just tell us where you think you smell it, and we would head out there. And if nothing's there, we find nothing, then that's fantastic. So it's always better to be safe than sorry.
You guys are doing a lot of awareness ever since, you know, and I mean prior to, but also even more since we've been hearing about the tragedy in the East Village and things like that. What's been the reception of people now that you guys are out on Front Street, front and center, boots on the ground?
You know, the number of calls that we're getting has gone up 50%. And we welcome that. Most of those calls that we're getting end up being, you know, nothing. But it's very exciting to see that people are being very vigilant and being very active and saying, you know what, I think I better call because things just aren't right. So for us, as the educational campaign and awareness goes, you know, we're going to keep being aggressive and trying to educate the public. We produced several PSAs and commercials in various languages, Korean, Chinese, and Spanish, of course. And we're just trying to get the word out there and working through mediums such as you.
So people can go out and get the word. If they want more information, what do? They
can call 1-800-75-CON-ED. They can also reach us through our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook. We're very active on there. You tweet us, we're going to answer you right away, and we're just trying to educate the public and really can't express to the public, you know, don't think that somebody else is calling. You take the initiative to call.
So you've heard here the signs of a gas leak, what to do in case you do have a gas leak, the steps that you need to take. And, of course, the main step, please go ahead and call 911. Sidney Alvarez is the Media Relations Manager at Con Edison, and thank you for coming and sharing with us. Before we let you go, is there anything else you want to let the public know?
Most important thing here is don't think that somebody else called. Take the initiative to call yourself. Can't stress that.
All right, Sidney, thanks. Got to come back and see us again.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
All righty. Sidney Alvarez. Got to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to find out.